Hello and welcome to another episode of the Devils Down Under. I'm your host Bryce. Thank you for joining me this week. Not a lot has actually happened in the last week, but we're going to be discussing basically the 2-2 draw with Aston Villa, as well as Martinez and Erickson finally joining us, even though we knew about it about a week or two ago, and as well as the Ronaldo saga playing out a bit more. And we've got a few more preseason games to go, and the league kicks off in a week's time as well, just over a week. So very exciting times to go. Not so much if you're a Man United fan, we haven't really done too much, but let's get into it. So we'll start off with we played Aston Villa a week ago, 2-2 draw in the end of the game. I wasn't too disheartened with it. The first half, as has been the case with many of the other games this pre-season, there was a lot of, we could see Ten Hag ball kind of coming to fruition. A lot of those interconnecting plays, as has happened against Crystal Palace, and that pressing nature which has been absent from Man United for some time. So it's pleasing to see the players getting a bit more fitness into their legs. Obviously Sancho he's on another level for us at the moment. He's hopefully he's not doing a Pirlo, Andres Pereira preseason Pirlo, but we actually know he is quality, so hopefully that's starting to showcase, and he can under this new system with Ten Hag. And look, once the substitution started being made, wasn't great. Yet again, it did expose Man United's lack of depth that we had. It was no, I don't look too much past it once we do get the depth, but in terms of moving forward for the league, I do see it as quite concerning. It only takes a few injuries, one or two, and as we know, Man United is prone to having injuries throughout the season. We can already write off, if we keep Bay is going to go off, Jones is going to go off. There's a few people that will get injured throughout the season. I mean, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, they've all had issues with their injuries over the last few years. So, look, beyond that first team 11, we're not looking too top-heavy in terms of quality. Why it is so, and that's why I reckon it's so important that we get a few more signings in, even though the Glazers would like to have us believe otherwise. It's quite imperative that we get these new signings in. Obviously, the big ones to take away from the game is once all those changes were made, Hannibal Mejbri, he played in the false nine yet again. It seems to be his role that he's been playing in the last few games that he's been coming on. We don't have another striker. Anthony Martial, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. But beyond that, we don't really know what's going on with Ronaldo. So I'll get into that a bit later on. Beyond Anthony Martial, and Rashford, who could obviously play up front, and I assume Sancho, if he needed to, could as well. But we don't have an out-and-out striker besides a few of our youth team players who aren't quite ready for the stage just yet. So it's going to be really interesting to see what does happen in that space. Obviously, Man United's been linked to the few players, as we are every year, but nothing concrete is being done. Just still exploration stages in regards to that. But moving on from the preseason games, Wu did join us this week finally, and we had a few training sessions and actually played a game behind closed doors against Wrexham, which I didn't know about until the day of that it was happening. Erickson as well as Martinez have finally joined us, which is it's good to know that they've started to acquainting with the team. Obviously, they didn't join the guys on the Down Under tour to Australia and Thailand. So it's good for them to integrate into the team. Obviously, a fortnight to go before the season starts. Every day is critical in terms of getting that team bonding, and hopefully Erickson, as well as from the interviews Martinez has been giving, very passionate player. Very much, I'd like to say, he's a bull. Obviously, he's known as the butcher in Holland. So hopefully his attitude they can rub off on the team and not the other way around, because we saw what happened once other players start joining in with our cliques at Man United. They get dragged down to their level. We want those players to go up to the new rivals level, which will hopefully Ten Hag is not taking this friendly approach to the players. He's more disciplinarian, which we'll see what happens along that front. But exciting times. So they played a game the other day against Wrexham behind closed doors. United won 4-1. Erickson actually got on the score sheet in the half an hour he played. Not too concerned about it. From what I'm hearing, I think it was a free kick, which would be interesting because obviously we got Fernandes as well as Ronaldo, and Rashford likes to think he can, but he does the whole hockey puck thing that they do for Mighty Ducks, knuckle puck. He tries to hit the ball like that, so he's not. I wouldn't consider him our set piece taker. That's one in every 50,000 shots that actually go in. Ronaldo's obviously dwindled in capabilities on set pieces lately, and Fernandes is very hit and miss. So if we can get that experience with Erickson, who we know is a very good set piece taker, I'd be all for that. But yeah, up to see what happens and what the formations obviously could be, starting teams, lineups, and everything like that. What I did, and what I was quite interested in what happened in that game with Wrexham is Martinez as well as Varane actually started at the heart of defence in the game. Obviously, Varane missed the game against Aston Villa, so fitness-wise, pre-season fitness, it wasn't up to scratch, so he needed to start the game to get some minutes into his legs, and Martinez obviously joining the club as well as Erickson, needed to get some minutes into the legs and kind of get used to their teammates. So I was shattered. Obviously, we did concede one. Wrexham, all I know about them is I play with them on Football Manager. They're a Walsh team, and Ryan Reynolds and the other guy from Orson in Philadelphia. What's his name? He's funny. Anyway, they own Wrexham, and they're the reason I've chosen them on Football Manager. Doing quite well with them. We are in the Premier League. A couple of years down the line, players like Mbappe and stuff are now 38, but early 30s. But look, don't know much about them. I know they're in League 2, League 1, whatever it may be. So nothing exciting, just get minutes into the legs and put more practice into plays in terms of Ten Hag ball. But anyway, we're moving on from that. So we talked about fitness and that. So the big thing was, obviously, Erickson and Martinez joined in. Ronaldo, from what we're hearing, didn't partake in the game, but did watch the game. Now, he obviously arrived back at Old Trafford, along with an entourage of Mendes, and then all the big guns from Man United. So, Murtagh and all those guys were there, but Sir Alex Ferguson got called in. So look, I'm not sure what's going on there. What's come out from that meeting is that Ronaldo's camp is still not happy with what's going on, and Mendes has said that he's still looking to move away. Now, we've heard he's got shut down from Bayern Munich, Chelsea. The Atletico Madrid fans actually on the weekend had a banner up behind their goal in one of their pre-season games saying no to CR7. He's on a decline. They don't want him there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that space. But he is running out of options. Look, it's my take on the whole thing with Ronaldo is he was brought to the club and expected that we'd make all these additions. We've got Varane, we've got Sancho, that we would go on and start fighting for trophies. Obviously, he's a serial winner. That's all he wants to do. He wants to win, be it personal accolades, team accolades. He wants to build up his war chest, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to win. Was sold as stream by Ollie and the Glazers. That's where Man United was at. Things obviously took a very 180 turn on that, and he ended up in probably Wrexham, was what he would have thought, watching that game against Wrexham. Things didn't really pan out, and nowhere near obviously had our worst season on record. So it's understandable that he wants to leave. Obviously, a lack of suitors is the big issue in regards to that, and also the fact that apparently the Glazers and Murtagh don't actually want Ronaldo to leave. Now, if a player wants to leave, be it Ronaldo or whoever, I'm all for them wanting to leave. Ronaldo was obviously brought. He's done so much for this club. If he wants to leave, I reckon we let him leave. I don't want to hold players against their will. Obviously, a lack of suitors may come down to the end where we have no one to offload him to, and that's his own issue, obviously with wages, and particularly if he's being a bit picky where he wants to play. But if we're not going to be fighting for the title next season. We're not going to be fighting for any titles in the next season or two, I don't reckon, just yet. And unless Erickson gets backed properly, I don't see that happening anytime soon either. So it's going to be interesting to see what does happen in that front with Ronaldo over the next few weeks. I don't see it being sorted out before the season starts next week, but I don't see him playing either, at least starting the game. considering Martial's form and his lack of training with the team as well. So yeah, keep that front open to see what happens. But I reckon we should let him go, and he deserves it to go play for a club that is going to be challenging for titles. He's 37, almost 38, and he doesn't have a lot of time left on his clock. So yeah, look, I'm going to leave it at that. You guys can have your opinions on that, but I don't want to keep anyone at the club we don't want, no matter how good they are. Still love him no matter what he's done for our club. Don't hate him for it. He was sold a lie. So yeah, I'd be pissed off in that situation too. So moving on. As I was talking about lack of depth in our squad, especially when we're playing plays like Mabry and stuff like that up front, and Chong on the right and Ilanga and stuff. It shows us that the front six and the midfield, the lack of options that we have. So yeah, the little breaking things that are coming down. Frankie de Jong's still waiting to see what happens with his deferred payments from Barcelona. And Anthony, price has now gone up from 80 to 100 million euro as a total package from Ajax. Look, it's not my money. It's not. It's Glazer's. I'd personally buy him. We need him. Erickson is one of the priority signings from Ten Hag. So I don't know why we're not going for him. But yeah, look, 80 million, 100 million, could have got him for 40 million euro less probably if we bought him back in May or beginning of June. We shot ourselves in the foot by holding on to this de Jong deal, as I've said plenty of times. So look, Anthony, look, is he worth 100 million? No. Is he worth 80 million? No. 45 million pounds, so roughly that 60 million euro mark. Yeah, look, I'd say yes. He played, what did he play? I got it up, yeah. So he played 32 games across all competitions for Ajax last year. Had 12 goals and 10 assists. So yeah, good amount of goals and assists. But obviously take into account it's the Eredivisie in Holland, so not really considered one of the top 5 leagues in the world. So whether or not that can transpire into the high-intensity quality leagues, as the Premier League example, is yet to be seen. So paying 100 million is a lot, but we are running out of options. Man United don't have a lot of time. The season starts next week. I can't keep saying that, but it does. And it's scary to know how little we've done in this transfer window. It'll be right up there with one of the worst transfer windows I've seen in my time supporting Man United, which is not great. Not great confidence when you take into consideration every other manager that have come in for their first season has been backed. And yes, obviously we're talking to de Jong, we're talking apparently still to Anthony, and then a few other players apparently, but nothing's happening. So all I can go on is Erickson a free transfer, Martinez for 50 million, and Malacia for 12 million. We sold players, we're looking to sell a few more. It's not great. Going into the preseason, into the season with basically our same squad, minus 8 first teamers: Pogba, Matic, Mata. Scary, very scary. But look, I'm going to talk about that next week. I'm going to do a bit of a preview where I think Man United's going to do well, how I'll season preview, how we think we're going to go, and things like that. So yeah, feel free to get into the chat or DM me like a few of you guys have been doing for things you want to discuss or for me to bring up in episodes as well. Moving on from that, another player that Man United's been linked with, and I didn't know anything about him until about 3 days ago, but according to YouTube, he looks like the next Lionel Messi, albeit 6'5" or 4", whatever it is. Peter Crouch-esque with Messi skills. They're dubbing him the next Erling Haaland. I don't see it happening. He's 19 years old. His name is Sesco, playing in the Austrian league for Leipzig. Or Red Bull, whatever you call their team, but Austrian league. Look, he hasn't scored many goals, but very fast, technical, rangy, very much a striker. But yeah, look, very underdeveloped. Now the thing is with him, especially Fabrizio came out saying we are monitoring him, but he'll be along with probably 100 other players that we are monitoring. He comes into our team as a low-key backup. I wouldn't even say he could hold down a first-team spot, especially not in the next year or two, considering where he's at. We can't have depth. We need players to come in that can replace our current crop. So yes, Malacia has come in. He can challenge Luke Shaw, and who else? Erickson. He can challenge the midfield position, as well as Martinez, who can challenge in the centre box spot right away from the off. This guy comes up front where we are very, very light. I don't see him displacing any of our players up front. Even if they're having a shocking run of form, he's more of a come on in the last 10, 15 minutes, see what you can do, and maybe get a Carabao Cup game here and there. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens in that front. Obviously, Anthony's the only one that I really know that we've been linked with besides this guy. Don't think it's going to happen in the next week before the season starts, especially getting a play if it's not Anthony in and then getting him used to Ten Hag's ball. It's going to be a few weeks before these players get into the team. And this is why I am so peeved off at Manchester United yet again. Lack of signings, but also timing of signings. Leaving everything to the last minute so the money stays in the coffers, get interest, don't have to spend the money straight away so they can make more money at the end of the day to line their pockets. It's Manchester United for you. We're a business, not a club. Moving on from that. Got a few more preseason games coming up this week. We got Atletico Madrid and Rayo Vallecano, both Spanish teams I think they're both, well, I know Atletico Madrid obviously are, but I don't know about Rayo Vallecano, if they're in the Spanish First Division League. But day after the other, I think this will be our last preseason game, so we're probably going to get as much game time into the players as we can. And then the day after each other. So I'm assuming our first 11 and 15 players, 16 players. Actually, it's 5 subs now in the Premier League next year. I think I'll put 16, 18 players as our first team will be in that first game against Atletico Madrid. And then a second string team will kind of get more minutes under their belt with the game afterwards in the next day against Rayo Vallecano. Look, it's been discussed already. The Spanish League doesn't start for another 2 weeks after the Premier League. So they're not going to be as fit as us, as switched on as us, as cohesive of us at this stage of the preseason. So I expect Man United to do really well against them. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. He's a pain in the ass. I don't know what to say. He's got issues. So I've locked him on the other side of the house. But apologies if you guys can hear that and it's annoying you. But nothing I can really do about it except I could lock him outside and hopefully he runs away, but that's a different story. So look, we've got a few more preseason games to go, and then the game starts. Next week, Sunday, Australia time, so Saturday night, or Saturday in the Premier League in England against Brighton. So look, one of the better teams probably for us to start off against. And I'll get into it a bit more next week of what we're expecting from the season, especially with a few weeks to go and seeing how we go with transfers down the line and time to get integrated into the team. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode. Obviously, like and subscribe down below and get in touch with me if there's any other questions or anything like that you guys want me to incorporate into shows. Thank you very much for joining me. See you guys later. Bye.